and welcome back to the Friday Five. It's our weekly list of 5 things you should know about here on the Agent Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel. We are just a couple days past the halfway point of AEP 2024. This week saw several announcements on new feature updates in some very popular apps. So I want to get to that, and we'll get there in just a moment. We've also got Thanksgiving and a whole lot of turkey on the horizon, which leads us nicely into number 1 on our list. Something fun that I like to look at every year, the price of a Thanksgiving meal. This is an interesting way to track inflation from year to year, especially on the food side, where depending on where you shop, you might have recently begun to see prices falling. Food inflation is looking better. It's up 3.3% year over year, according to the October 2023 CPI report. But when you disregard food away from home, inflation on food at home clocks in at 2.1%. So not too bad with the numbers there. Each year, the Farm Bureau sends shoppers out to document prices on traditional Thanksgiving meal supplies, as well as an expanded menu. And good news, this year, the price of that holiday meal has come down. Last year, it hit a record high of $64.05. Definitely a jump from the cost of $53.51 in 2021. For 2023, the cost of turkey, cubed stuffing, sweet potatoes, dinner rolls, frozen peas, fresh cranberries, celery, carrots, pumpkin pie mix, pie shells, whipping cream, and whole milk comes in at $61.17. The expanded Thanksgiving menu includes data on boneless ham, russet potatoes, and frozen green beans. That cost comes to $84.75. The Farm Bureau report goes into more detail, breaking down which food item prices increased and decreased from year to year, as well as graphs of data going back to 2004. So that report will be linked in our episode notes. Number 2, now we will get into the feature updates that have recently been announced, starting with Google Maps. Google announced a few updates to their navigation app this week. First up, to the delight of commuters and transit riders, the ability to choose a route featuring fewer transfers, wheelchair accessibility, less walking, lowest cost, or simply the best route. Also helpful, labels on the entrances and exits of transit stations to keep you on the correct trains. Not just helpful for use during your commute, but also if you have plans to visit any large cities for the holidays. I can see those features being super helpful. And then another neat feature coming to Google Maps, collaborative lists. You can share a list with a group and everyone can comment with an emoji. So definitely helpful if you're trying to decide where to eat on a trip or perhaps just which sites you plan to see while you're there. You can take the vote of everyone involved in that collaborative list. Number 3. Microsoft Teams has added a new feature that I absolutely love. It is called Decorate Your Background. It's an AI feature that will clean up the background of your video chats, clear out the clutter, add fancy decorations, plants, even festive season decor. The background feature is powered by, you guessed it, generative AI, and is scheduled for an early 2024 release. Also coming to Teams and also powered by AI, a background noise inhibitor that works by recognizing your voice and isolating it, similar to tech we've seen recently announced from Apple in iOS 17. Number 4, couple of updates from Threads this week. Probably the most exciting, that the app is testing out hashtag functionality in Australia. And I'd call it more of a hashtag light, but it's something. So rather than tag a post with several hashtags, think how we do it on Instagram, Facebook, even X, users will be able to attribute one hashtag or topic to a post. Here's how it'll work. Users will type in the # and then start typing their hashtag, which will populate topics underneath the post, similarly to how hashtags work on Instagram. You'll even be able to see how many posts include that topic. But it's just one per post, which I think is going to be a fascinating experiment. I do think Threads needs this capability. They need a way to not just sort through topics, but also for discovery. I say that as someone who follows a few hashtags on Instagram. It is a great way to find new content and new users to follow. So naturally, I'm looking for something like that in my Threads experience. Additionally, Meta added the ability to delete a Threads account without deleting your Instagram account. You can opt out of having Threads posts appear on Instagram and Facebook. All Threads users can now pin posts. And as far as DMs, well, head of Instagram and Threads, Adam Mosseri, is still playing coy, not saying whether they will be added or whether they won't be added. Number 5, in addition to the Threads updates we got, Meta also announced some updates to Instagram this week, which, according to reports, should be rolling out now, but I have not seen these new features on my version of the app just yet, but I am definitely looking forward to them. First up, undo and redo while editing videos. As someone who constantly uses the Control-Z shortcut while editing just about everything, I am happy to see this functionality come to Instagram. Next, a huge focus on creating Reels with a new media clip hub, 10 new text-to-speech voices, and updated fonts and text styles. I can't say that I create a lot of Reels, but I do create stories, and there aren't too many options in the fonts or the text styles right now, so I'm glad to see they'll be rounded out a little bit more with some new features. And then the other new addition, filters. A lot of filters. 25 new filters will be coming to Instagram. And rather than having arbitrary names that do nothing to describe what the edit does, most of the new filters are named after the effect you're trying to achieve. So zoom, blur, wide angle, soft light, boost warm, simple cool, a bit more helpful than, say, gingham or Clarendon, which are two of my favorites from the current selection. Also included in the update, Instagram is testing a create your own sticker feature, letting users pull imagery from their own photos and videos to create stickers for their reels and stories. Instagram has long been looking to improve the reel experience, hoping to draw more users to creating native content rather than just uploading videos made on TikTok. I love seeing new features like this. I'm not convinced that it's enough for people to take the time to create a reel on Instagram in addition to creating that video on TikTok. I think the convenience of creating once and reposting is always going to exist, but this is a start at putting a little more Insta back on the gram. Rupel recommends. Last Saturday, I got the official notification that audiobooks are now part of Spotify Premium here in the US. So naturally, I had to check out the recommendations. And I did get book recommendations based on my podcast listening, which is very cool. I was hoping for that feature. So far, I've only added 2 books to my library. I really haven't dug deep into the feature, but it looks like premium subscribers get those 15 hours of listening per month, and I think should be able to listen to multiple titles as long as we don't exceed that time limit. Those are just my first thoughts on the audiobook feature. Wanted to let you know that that is now live. I said that I would update when that was rolled out, and we will definitely have a more in-depth review to come in the future. Next up, if you use Comixology to read your comics, manga, or graphic novels, or if that's what your family and friends use, starting December 4th, all Comixology content will be merged over and managed in the Kindle app. Amazon acquired Comixology back in 2014, but didn't do too much in the way of changes until last year. When the app was revamped, it got mixed reviews. Some of the issues included searchability, lack of categories, and other user interface issues. Hopefully, those have been cleared up or will be cleared up as the systems officially merge together. For subscribers to Comixology Unlimited, that service will still exist within the Kindle app. Looks like it's still offered at the same $6 per month price tag as well. Thankfully, the change is coming before the holiday season. So if you see a subscription to Comixology Unlimited on a holiday wish list, you can fulfill that with an Amazon gift card. And speaking of gifts, be sure you're following along with our show because next week we've got some great holiday episodes coming, including one of my favorites, our top 10 holiday toy list. Until then, I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there, and we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel, script editing and fact check by Tina Lamoureux, podcast design by Urban Rivera, artwork by Vivian Zhao. Follow along with us wherever you like to listen.